Hi, I'm Haley, and today on Bookbusters, we'll be talking about Same Sun Here by Silas House and Neela Vanswani with 8th grade English teacher Sarah Cohen. In Same Sun Here, two teens, Mina in New York City and River Justice in Kentucky, are pen pals.
Welcome back to Bookbusters. I'm Morgan, and we'll be discussing the book Same Sun Here by Silas House and Neela Vanswani. Joining me are Miss Cohen, 8th grade English teacher, and to her left, your right, we have Ansley, who's in the 6th grade. To her left is Haley. She's in the 6th grade as well. So, would one of you like to give a quick synopsis of the book?
Just talk about the book. Okay, say a little bit about the book.
Yeah.
I read this book for the first time this summer, actually, because my friend who's a librarian in a different library had said, "Oh, you work with 6th graders. It's a great book." And it's the great thing about this book is that it's two pen pals discussing their lives in two different places, and it has a middle school age boy and a middle school age girl, and they live in two different parts of the United States. One is in Kentucky and one is in New York, and they kind of discuss their experiences. And what's cool about the book is that you get to see how their lives are similar even though they're in different places, and what's different and the issues that they're going through both as kids in different parts of the U.S.
Definitely. So right now we'll be discussing a little bit of the book. So when Mina goes to citizenship class, the teacher says, "That's what it means to be an American. To be free, to love who and what you want. To keep a lot in your heart at once. Do you agree with this? What does being an American mean to you and your family?" Tough question.
Well, the U.S. is land of the free, home of the brave, so you should be free to love who and what you love.
Well, I think I agree because we fought for a free country and we deserve to be free and we deserve to love who we want to love and to be free and do whatever we want.
Within reason. Whatever we want, within reason, right? Well, what's cool, again, about this book is that you get to see a kid showing his freedom. There's some environmental issues in the story, and you get to see someone exercising their freedom and showing their government maybe a better way to do things, maybe when the government isn't exactly doing things the way that they should be. And we're lucky that we live in a country where a student can go up against their government and say, this is how things are supposed to be done and this is what we need to do. And this is a great example of how kids can get involved and make things better.
Yeah. Does anybody else have to say anything about this? Okay, so Mina is part of the drama club, and River loves playing basketball. How do you think group activities help people? What group activities do you belong to?
You guys all belong to one together. What group activity do you guys belong to?
Book club. No, but I think that book clubs, or teams or sport, really bring people together. And if you're in drama club and then you play basketball, you can really meet different people, different types of people, and it's a really great way to socialize and meet new people. So.
I think good because you get to meet a lot of new friends and it's always have good friends that you can rely on. Because it's just better to have friends than have none because you can't really
do all that stuff by yourself? So are you guys in other clubs at school besides book club?
I'm in yearbook.
Yearbook, there you go.
Awesome.
I run two clubs. I'm going to plug. I run an improv theater club, and I run on Mondays, so it gets in the way sometimes of other clubs. So I know. So I'm lucky I get to be with you guys today. And I run a games club on Tuesdays after school, and I like it because kids that maybe don't get to see each other or wouldn't be friends but have something in common, get to meet each other that way. So I think that's great. And I know when I was in school, I was a theater person, so I relate to Mina in the story who does the plays. And it's basically how I got through school, and clubs were something that sometimes when school was hard, clubs were something to look forward to, and activities were something to look forward to, and sometime that I knew I was going to be with people that I liked and got along with, and so it was like a good, safe place to be, and I enjoyed it. And obviously you guys like doing book club because you got us here to talk about it today, so.
Yeah. Ignorant people don't know any better, Mama tells River, but stupid people want to be stupid. What do you believe is the difference between ignorance and stupidity? Which is more dangerous?
I'm going to make you answer this question because it's a vocab word. It was a vocabulary word this year and landed in 6th grade, so let's make the 8th grader talk about it, huh?
Oh, the pressure is on. Okay, so the definition of ignorance is lack of knowledge. Proud of me.
Very good, I'm very proud of you.
So I think the difference is ignorance is the lack of knowledge. So basically, when you say something out of ignorance, it's because you don't know any better. But stupidity, it's like you mean to do it, not mean to, but it's like it's a very difficult question.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
is.
It's kind of out of something.
If you're ignorant, is it necessarily your fault? You know, is it your fault that you didn't learn it yet? But if you're stupid, if you could go out and learn it and you choose not to.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
stupidity.
That's stupidity, right? If you could, that's stupidity, yeah. Well, and the characters in this book, River lives in a very small community where a lot of people are the same. And no, you're laughing at me, right? Okay, you want to take over? No, you can take over.
You said very small community reminds me of Littleton.
Well, right, and it's a different kind of community than Littleton. He's in rural Kentucky and a lot smaller even than Littleton is. But a lot of the people are very much the same, and so you don't think about people that are different and being in a different place and having different things. Whereas the other character, Mina, she lives in New York, where it's lots of different people with lots of different ideas. So there are things that River might be ignorant of because he's never been exposed to them that Mina might not. Yeah, and I wasn't necessarily, but you're right. I mean, we live in a small town.
Yeah. And
you know, or a smaller town, right, in comparison to some other people. So sometimes that can happen too, right? But it's different, like you said. It's if you could learn it and you don't learn it, that's stupid. But you know, if it's new to you.
Yes.
Even best friends have disagreements. What do Mina and River quarrel about? How do they resolve their differences? So the thing they quarrel about is pretty funny. So what do you want?
Well, Mina, I believe it was someone made fun of her and said that she had hairy legs. So what she did was she shaved, and she described to River how like unpleasant it was, and he was so disgusted by that.
And he's a middle school boy,
Right.
and his girl pen pal gave him more information.
Yeah, but I remember, I think they made him, he made her sign that contract. Like the first time she talked about it, where someone made fun of her for her hairy legs. He was like, don't ever mention this in a letter again, do the contract. And then she mentioned it about like her actually shaving her legs. And then he was like, no. Like, no, I don't know how to put it.
Too much information.
Yeah, TMI.
Yeah.
But, yeah, how do they resolve their differences?
Well, when River got mad at Mina for kind of giving him too much information, and he wanted her to sign a contract. Oh, you'll never talk about hairy legs again. But she said, no, that's not really fair.
Very good. What sacrifices did Mina's parents make to come to America? Why didn't they bring their daughter with them? How does Mina feel about staying behind in India for several years? How would you?
We should probably start by saying, which I don't think we've said yet, that Mina's family are immigrants from India, and their family is able to move, but Mina stays behind with her grandmother for how many? For some years?
Ooh, a few
A
years.
few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
She's there
Yeah.
longer than originally planned while her family gets set up. So she is newer to America than the rest of her family.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a big deal. So what do you guys think? How'd you feel if your family left? I mean, yeah, right?
I would feel really kind of sad. I mean, if it was only supposed to be for a short amount of time, but it turned out to be several years, I would get mad, but it's not necessarily their fault.
And I'd kind of think like they're doing what they can. You know, they're trying to make money for sending us over, you know, send me over, and I'd be, yeah.
I think it would be closer to frustration.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's probably hard for me. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
And I'd probably be a little scared because you're not going to be with your parents. You don't know what's happening with them
Yeah.
because you've never been to that place, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I mean, her family had all this time in America that she didn't have. And so when she gets there, too, they're all much, I guess, better at being American in a way. They know how to handle a city. She was living in mountains
Like a lush,
in
right.
New York. Yeah, lush. More vocab words, Morgan. She was living in, the mountains with her grandmother, and it was very rural, and her family's in New York. And it's just... it was a big change, and they'd all had more time with it. So I think in some ways it was harder for her when she finally got there because she
Yeah.
realized how much more distant, how far away they all were. And her older brother is like this cool New York kind of guy, bike messenger guy, and she's all, like kind of awkward and used to a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
It'd be hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. River makes the cover of Time magazine and is asked to appear on the Today Show. Why does he feel undeserving of his attention? Do you agree? Why or why not?
Why does he feel undeserving?
Yeah, undeserving. Blah, blah, blah.
That's okay. What do you guys think?
Well, what happened was there was a lot of construction and mountaintop removal going on where he lived, and it polluted lots of the rivers around where he lived. So what he did was his town went out to protest to these politicians. And one of the politicians said, your rivers aren't very dirty. I'd be happy to drink out of any one of them. And River walks up and holds up the jar of dirty river water. And he's like, drink it. And the politician's like, no thanks. So that was very brave of him.
Why doesn't he feel deserving? Why don't you think he feels all like, yeah, I'm on the cover, look at me?
Didn't his grandma start off with the thing, and then they got like really mad at her, the town and everything got really mad at her for it, and then once he kind of took a stand and took her side, everyone started kind of running, so it was kind of originally his grandmother's kind of,
Yeah, and then everybody kind of joined in.
after he did. So. Take a closing look at the title, Same Sun Here. What makes it so fitting for this book? At what point in the novel does Mina use that phrase?
Well, okay, I'm smiling because I'm thinking about another book. If you can think about Same Sun Here, Morgan, I'm like about seeing the same sun. Could that be like seeing the same sky?
Yeah.
Same sky, same sky.
We've read other books this year, like The Outsiders, and a common theme in those books is something about seeing the same sun in the same sky, and that's what it reminds me of. So what do you think it means?
I think it means despite how different people can be, set aside the differences, at the end of the day, it's the same sun. We're all human,
Yeah.
So.
I remember once in the book when Mina was, she realized how different they were, and she just imagined, we're both under the same sun, so that makes me feel like we're a lot closer, even though we're very different.
No matter where you are, it's the same sky, it's the same
Yeah.
sun, you see the same things.
Yeah, I like that. On page 38, there's a quote that says, "I wonder why feeding pigeons is against the law, but saying mean things about people isn't." So, analyze that.
Is that what we're analyzing it?
Analyze.
That was some kind of like Power Ranger, like,
Analyzing that quote, what do we think of that quote?
yeah,
It is kind of strange. Why isn't it the other way around?
yeah.
I mean, like, if you say something mean about someone, it can be kind of hard because sadly there is a lot of mean stuff said, and it would be really hard to monitor all those things.
Yeah, and like
people are saying.
pigeons are usually in the city with like, there's usually like a bunch of police.
But we're more concerned about whether or not we give a stray animal food
Yeah.
than if we're
Right.
nice to each other, right? I mean,
And-
that says a lot.
Yeah, and it'll probably make the world a better place if that was illegal, not feeding pigeons.
Right, if we spent more time taking care of each other and less time worrying about whether or not,
Right.
I feed a pigeon.
Go along with the book we're reading, Anne Frank. We're
We're just going to connect literature and book club today. Okay.
we're reading Anne Frank, the play version.
The play version, yep.
Yes, and Peter, he says once he gets out of, right after the war and stuff, he doesn't want anyone knowing he's Jewish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that part. And then
Yeah.
where she's like, we're all, what does she say? She says,
I don't remember exactly the line, but
she says something like,
she's being proud of who
Be-
she
be
is and not
proud.
hiding behind it, kind
and
of
then
that part.
didn't she say there's nice people out in the world too?
Yes, we have to give them a chance. Right.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
what I was
go.
thinking, yeah.
Very nice. We're connecting. Morgan's showing off her English teacher today. Yeah, that's good. No, but yeah, it's the same kind of concept back to same sons here is what are we concerned with? Are we more concerned with each other and being kind or pigeon? I mean, it was a silly example. The pigeons thing is a
Right.
silly quote, but the idea that we should be nice to each other, think about that our environment is bigger than just us. We're all under the same sun here, whether it's Kentucky or New York, whether it's Littleton or somewhere across the world, whether it's, this book that we're reading or that book that we're reading, but that we're all together, yeah.
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 Aw.
On that note, that was it for our discussion of Same Sun Here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here, Miss Cohen.
Thank you for having me.
And stay tuned to find out what other kids in our school have been reading.